Welcome, everyone, to another Silicon Labs product podcast. Today, we're excited to have Mike Dow, our security solutions expert. Mike, I'm glad that we finally got together to talk about security. Now, you represent our security solutions, which recently have been getting a lot of attention. So I thought it would be great to spend some time talking about the reasons for this excitement. I think we're actually going to have to break this into a few different podcasts because it's such a new and interesting topic. I happen to know there are quite a few new products in the works that I know we can't talk about all on this podcast. In this first episode, why don't we just keep it real simple? I'd like to help our listeners understand where and why the different building blocks of security are used. We can cover the how maybe in the next episode. Are you okay with that, Mike?
Yeah, sure. Should be fun.
Okay, you recently talked about the need for security to protect a device during software updates. Can you give a recent example where that was a key design requirement for a customer?
Yeah, sure. Well, a good example would be in portable medical devices. The Diabetes Technology Society has decided that to safeguard patients, they needed to define a minimal protection profile. This protection profile is called DTSEC. It defines several minimal requirements for connected diabetes devices. And one of those requirements is to validate all the software and firmware with a digital signature prior to execution. And that requirement also covers any updates to the software.
That's great. We can spend more time going over more of the technical details for secure boot with the root of trust in one of our next episodes. Mike, another security building block that we often hear about is the need for hardware cryptographic acceleration. And we also have heard about advanced encryption standards like AES, ECC, and other complex algorithms. What type of customers require these, and why is the hardware acceleration so important for them?
All the major protocol stacks like Zigbee, Z-Wave, BLE, and Thread require AES encryption. And with BLE, there's also need for ECC to do key exchanges. So in a battery-powered device, time equals battery drain. So having a fast crypto accelerator is very important for extended battery life. Also, from a secure boot standpoint, using elliptical curve digital signatures is the fastest and most secure method to authenticate an image signature. Again, time is power, so having the fastest ECC algorithms helps conserve battery power over the lifetime of the device.
Okay. And I recall we recently published a training video that covered our secure debug features, and it focused on our ability to lock, but more importantly, unlock a chip's debug port. So what is a good example of a customer application that requires this ability to lock, but also, as we said, unlock that debug port?
The debug port is a great attack vector if it's left open. So historically, if a company wanted to protect their device, they would have to choose to permanently lock the debug port before shipping. Of course, the problem with doing that is that even the manufacturer can't troubleshoot the device if it's returned by the customer. They just have to throw it away and give the customer a new one. So besides the cost of throwing away a perfectly good device, you really don't know what went wrong. So you can't diagnose the issue to improve future versions of the product. But with a secure debug scheme like ours, you can now safely lock the debug port against hackers and still unlock it cryptographically. The way we enable this lock and unlock feature is what we call an unlock token. You can freely and openly give that debug token to a third party to do analysis. Once the third party no longer needs to do the debug of the device, debug token can be invalidated.
Okay, that's pretty clear. So another thing is that key storage keeps coming up all the time when I'm talking with customers. Can you explain in high level terms why the keys are important and share your thoughts on how secure key storage should be?
All security schemes depend on cryptography to deliver three important things: confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity. And all cryptography depends on the secret keys remaining secret. So every secure system requires secret keys to be stored somewhere in the system. From a security design perspective, keys can always be discovered given enough time and money. So the question becomes, what level of protection do I need for my keys, and what level of resources will be deployed to get those keys? Besides considering how easy the key is to access, the question needs to be asked, if the key of one device is discovered, how does that compromise my ecosystem? The worst security sin is to have an easy to discover key that is the same for all your devices. Then you need to consider the attack vectors. For example, if you're fairly sure that most likely the attacks will be executed remotely, you'll need to protect your keys from the applications running on that device that might be remotely compromised. If you're concerned that someone can access your device physically, and even worse, spend some time with it in a hacking lab, then you need to consider local logical physical protection of the keys. Protection against local attacks is where Secure Vault really shines. Our key management and tamper protection give you similar levels of key protection typically found in separate secure elements.
Well, thanks, Mike. It's been a great first discussion. Like I said, we kept it simple. You covered some great topics, and I think we haven't had you on the air before, so you did a pretty good job for your first time. It would be great if we can get you back on in the next couple episodes to talk about some more of these topics. But before that, are there any resources that you would suggest the listeners review for additional information and or training on security?
Sure, www.scilabs.com/security is a great place to start to get more information. I would also suggest that people listen to that training video that you mentioned earlier, Securing the IoT. It's full of high level introductions to the technology we have branded as Secure Vault, which will be used in many of our new products releasing soon.
Well, Mike, I look forward to us getting back together to discuss more about security. For everyone listening, thank you for taking time to listen to the podcast and join us again for further training on Silicon Labs products. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.